everybody, and welcome back to another session with Dr. Papori Barooah, where I'll be introducing you to some other concepts related to phonetics. In this particular session, I'll introduce you to the other concepts like the plosives, the fricatives, affricates, and talk about some basic concepts like strictures, and we'll have something like how we actually write the plosives and how we actually write all the consonants and what are vowels, semi-vowels, diphthongs, etc. So let's begin. First of all, let me introduce you, or in fact again recall back what we talked about in lecture 2. This is lecture 3, and in this particular lecture I'll be doing in detail all other concepts, like the first and one of the very basic concepts there, the concept of the voiceless and the voiced sounds. Now when we talk about the voiceless sounds and the voiced sounds, they are something to do with the air that comes out from your lungs. The air that comes out when we try to talk something or speak out something, the air that comes from the lungs has to pass through the glottis. If the glottis is big, as I said in the last lecture, it is going to be a voiceless sound. The air goes out very freely and we have a voiceless sound. And so this is diagrammatically represented like this. These are the vocal cords, and the gap between the vocal cords, it is the glottis. And when we have the vocal cords very near each other, they are known as, the glottis is very small, and hence those sounds are known as voiced sounds. So here we have, this is the diagram for the voiceless sound, and this is the diagram for the voiced sounds. Now one thing we need to remember, normally most of the phonemes in the English language, the 44 phonemes, most of them, normally I'm talking about the consonants now, they are actually paired, and the pairs are fixed. Like when we talk about plosives, we have pa, ba, ta, da, ka, ga. Fricatives, fa, va, sa, za, etc. Now these phonemes, they are in pairs and within slant lines. Therefore, pa, ba, ta, da. We need to remember that this position is fixed in the language. You cannot interchange, and hence it's a very easy way to remember which are the voiceless sounds and which are the voiced sounds. Now when we talk about those sounds which are on the left hand side, they are the voiceless sounds, like pa, ba, only pa is a voiceless sound, and the right hand sound ba is a voiced sound. And this is for all the phonemes in pairs, and pairs, as I said, cannot be broken down. Okay, so let me now give you the exact definition of the voiced sound. The sounds which are produced with the vocal cords very near each other. They have a very small glottis so that the air passes out with vibration. Voiceless sounds, the sounds which are produced with the vocal cords far away from each other. They have a wide glottis, and hence the air passes out very easily. Another concept which we'll deal with in later section is the minimal pair. Let me now introduce you to the phonemic chart. Here we have all the sounds in the English language. Like here, pa as in p, ba as in boat, ta as in tea, da as in talk. Likewise, we have all the other sounds. Now, let me first divide those sounds for you all so that we can deal with them in detail later on. The first I'm going to talk about are the plosives. Now, what are the plosives? Now, when we talk about the plosives, we need to realize that plosives are sounds which are produced with the air that's coming out. It's pulmonic egressive airstream mechanism. We follow that for all the sounds in the English language, and the air that comes out when we are trying to pronounce pa, pa, the air comes out and through a wide glottis, because I'm talking about pa, which is written on the left hand side, it's a voiceless sound. Pa comes out very nicely with a wide glottis there, and it comes into the oral cavity, and when it faces the obstruction of the two lips there, they are the articulators in contact, pa. When I release the contact, the air comes out with explosion, producing the plosive p. But similarly, when we talk about b, 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 if you put your finger on your larynx there, we have the vocal cords vibrating when I tell b, b. But when I tell p, 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 that's a very much easy flow that we feel of the air that's coming out. But when we tell b, b, we have a huskier sound there and the vocal cords vibrate. And it's on the right hand side, b, p, b, p is on the left hand side, b is on the right hand side, and similar way it's pronounced with two lips in contact. The articulators in contact are the two lips. Therefore, when we release the contact, the air comes out with explosion, producing the plosive b, b, b. Like that, when we talk about the 6 plosives in the language, t, 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 d, d, d. T is voiceless, d is voiced. Again, k, 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 k is voiceless and g is voiced. Like that, for all the sounds all the plosives in the English language, the air comes out, fills up the vocal or fills up your oral cavity and comes out when the obstructions are released. Hence, we can say they are plosives because they are phonemes produced by the air that comes out is obstructed, and when the articulators are released, the air comes out with explosion, and hence plosion, the word plosion gives the word plosive. Plosion comes from the word explosion. So how do you in detail write it out? The plosives are produced with a stricture of complete closure and sudden release. Now when we talk about a stricture, what actually is a stricture? Means how the articulators are coming near each other, that is known as a stricture. So in this particular lesson, I'll also be talking to you about the concept of the stricture. That is how the articulators come together when we are talking about different ways the consonants are produced, and one type of consonant we are talking about now are the plosives. The next type is of course the fricatives. Now let me again go back and show you the phonemic chart where we have the fricatives in the English language. So when we talk about fricatives, we have 9 fricatives in the English language. F as in fly, V as in video, Th as in think, The as in this, S as in see, Z as in zoo, Sh as in shell, J as in television, jin, that one. And of course, H as in hat. Now, why do you think they are known as fricatives, the 9 fricatives in the language? Because they are produced with a sort of friction, whether be it voiceless sound or voice sound. So talk about f. Which are the articulators coming together when we tell f? The lower lip coming very near the upper front teeth. F. So when we talk about fricatives, it is about the air that comes out from your lungs, and those fricatives on the left hand side, say f and v. F is produced with a wide glottis. The air comes comes into the oral cavity, and there it faces an obstruction. Which is the obstruction? When we have the two articulators coming very near each other. Like we have f, the lower lip and upper front teeth, they come very near each other. But the gap between the articulators is so small that the air goes out with friction and hence produces the fricative f. So while we tell the stricture for, we're talking about the plosives, it is a complete closure and sudden release. But when we talk about the stricture for the fricatives, it is close approximation. That is, the articulators in fricatives, they come very near each other and the air still flows out with friction between the gap of the articulators. So when we talk about, say, s, z, s, s. The articulators are the tip and blade of the tongue coming very near the alveolar ridge, but the gap is there for the air to come out with friction. We are going to deal about the entire thing in detail later, but at present I'll just introduce you to the concept of the stricture. The stricture here is, as I said, close approximation. Now let me move on to the other sounds as well. Meanwhile, you can of course write down the definition for the fricatives. The fricatives are produced by bringing the two articulators very close to each other so that the air from the lungs comes out from a narrow gap between the articulators with a friction. Now let me move on to the third type of consonant, the affricate. In fact, in English we just have two affricates. I'll just go back and show you the affricates there. They are the ch as in cheese, and j as in June. Ch as in cheese and j as in June. Now jam, traffic jam, j. Try and say only j, j. What do you feel? If you close your eyes and just concentrate on how the articulators are coming together, you'll feel ch, ch and ch, ch. If you look at the phoneme, we have two sounds coming together. Now when we talk about an affricate, what we have are two sounds coming together. One is a plosive t and the other is a fricative sh. So in a plosive, what is a stricture? It is complete closure and sudden explosion. T, t, t. And what is the stricture in an affricate? Sh, sh. It is close approximation. And hence, when it is an affricate, we have the plosive and the fricative coming together. So we have complete closure of the plosive, but the release is gradual. Ch. Complete closure and then release. Ch, ch. Similarly, j, j. So what is the stricture here? It is complete closure, gradual release. In case of affricates, as I'll show it to you now. Now try and write down the definition of the affricate. So the affricates are sounds which are produced with the bringing together of the articulators and releasing it gradually. In phonetics, in English phonology, in fact, we have two affricates. They are ch and j. Now moving over to the next consonant there, we just have one lateral sound, the l. Now when we talk about the lateral l, what happens is that the two articulators are brought in contact, but the air still passes out from the sides of the tongue. L. Say when we say the word leave, L, L. That means the tip and blade of the tongue comes in complete contact with the alveolar ridge. L. But when we can still sing it like l, the air comes out from the sides of the tongue, and hence it is a lateral. Lateral is a side lateral sound. So we have only one lateral phoneme, that is the l. The stricture for l is complete closure and release from the sides. Now let us talk about the next type of consonant. They are the nasals. Nasals are consonant sounds produced by the nose as well as the mouth, but we have, even though the articulators are in complete contact, they still move out from the nose. The air can still move out from the nose. We have three nasal consonants, or in fact in the English language, they are m, n and ng. Let me try and tell m as in man. When I'm telling m, I can sing it. That means if you put your finger in front of your nose and see the air touches the tip of your finger. that means the air is coming out from my nostrils. That means the air comes out from the lungs. It comes in contact, it comes through a glottis there. The glottis is narrow. Try and tell and see. If you're confused, always try and tell by filling with the finger here on the larynx and tell m, m, m. Isn't it like b, b? We have the vocal cords vibrating. Means the glottis is very small. And one very nice, some very important thing to remember about the nasals. We just have 3 nasals and they are not in pairs. All of them are voiced. So, what are nasals? Nasals are sounds produced by the nose, and of course, the 2 articulators are in complete contact, just like in plosives. Pa, ba. Listen to the way I say. Pa, ba, ma. But I cannot sing pa and ba. Pa, ba. But ma. So I can sing ma, means it is a nasal. Similarly, ta, da, ta, da, and tell n, n, n. I cannot, without releasing the contact of the articulators, I cannot tell ta, the, but I can sing that means the air is coming out through the nose there. Similarly for ka, ga, which are plosives, I cannot tell without releasing the contact ka, ga, but I can sing nga, without releasing the contact, and hence it's a nasal sound. So if I am talking about the stricture for the nasal, what is it? The stricture is complete closure and nasal release. So you can write down the definition of the nasals: the production of the speech sounds with the articulators coming in full contact and the soft palate lowered, so the air from the lungs come out through the nose there. It comes out through the nose there. I would like to mention here, I'll always talk in detail about the nasals, and just like in all other phonemes there, but now we'll concentrate on brief descriptions of all the phonemes there. So the next is the continuant. The articulators come near each other in the rear part of the alveolar ridge, and the air goes out through the narrow gap between them, like r, 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 r as in rose. R as in rose. So you can continuously say that sound there on the phoneme, and hence it's known as a continuant. Moving on further, we are now coming to the vowels and diphthongs. Now vowels and the diphthongs, the stricture followed is it's an open approximation, like e, a, e, and or we talk about or. You know, we have 12 vowels there and 8 diphthongs. All of them are said with a stricture of open approximation. So we really need to deal in detail with the vowels. Very important to understand the vowels. If you can pronounce the vowels well, you can pronounce English perfectly. When we're talking about people from the northeastern part of India, say, normally the general people, we're talking about the sounds which are not pronounced very, very distinctively, like the diphthongs. Now, diphthongs are sounds where we have 2 vowel sounds coming together. It begins with one vowel sound and moves on to the other vowel sound, but does not quite reach there. Like S-A-Y, say. It begins with A, it doesn't end in or doesn't completely reach E. Say, A. So we have the 8 vowel sounds. Let me take you back to the vowel sound in the phonemic chart. So first let me show you the vowels in the language. There are 8 vowels, as I said to you. This is E as in sheep, E as in ship, U as in good, shoot, U as in shoot, A as in bed. This is the ER sound towards, it normally occurs towards the end or the beginning of the word there. The schwa sound, the only sound, if you remember from the last chapter or the last lesson there, I had talked about the schwa sound, the only sound that, or the phoneme which has a name in the English language as CHWA, schwa, and it cannot be pronounced with an accent. It never gets an accent, as in teacher, teacher, teacher. Or say here ago, in the word ago, ago. Here we have the next one, as in bird, o as in door, as in cat, up as in up, as in far, and o as in on. So as I said, this is just one sound that we have, therefore it's known as a just monophthong. But when we talk about a diphthong, so we have two sounds together, therefore di is two diphthongs, right? So ia as in here, this is a as in wait, wait, it's ua as in tour. So tour, it's not tour, it's a tour, and it's a tourist. Ua. Oi as in boy, o as in show, air as in hair, but we normally tell hair, which is completely wrong there. I as in my, ow as in cow. So we can give you the definition now of the diphthongs. Diphthongs are, as I said, two vowel sounds coming together. So there's a glide, a, I. So we have two vowel sounds. The first vowel is known as the first element and the second vowel, the second element. So how can we give you the definition there? These are phonemes produced by two vowels coming together. The first one told strongly and the second one told negligibly. That means the sound doesn't quite reach there. There are 8 vowels in the English language, and the stricture for the vowels in the diphthong, it's open approximation. Now let us go to another very curious and intelligent sort of a group, which is the semi-vowel. Semi-vowel. Why semi? Because they are neither fully vowels nor fully consonant. When I tell there are 2 semi-vowels are there, ya as in yes, wa as in wine. These 2 vowels, semi-vowels are, when I tell ya, it's vowel-like in production, or wa, like all the vowels we have, e, a, o, u, all these vowels, just like that, we have ya, wa. They are in production like a vowel. But if I say, look at this particular slide here, say, as I said, it's vowel-like in production. And look at these words. Wig, W-I-G, wig. W-I-G, eager, twig. Quick, S-U-I-T-E. It's a sweet. Alright, we need to tell it's a sweet. Alright, yet, as in the y in yet, yes, and huge, ya sound, huge. Like Indian, the ya sound there, ya. So if we talk about these sounds or these words, in fact, in position they are, however, like a consonant, because they will not take the article an, then always take the article a. So very common question that is normally asked in the exams is that why are semi-vowels called semi-vowels? Because they are vowel-like in production, but in position they are like a consonant. See here, we tell it's a wig. We never tell an wig, or a twig, a sweet. Hence, they are semi-vowels. So now let me deal with one more idea or the concept there, the concept of approximant. Now approximant, if we talk about, there are 4 approximants in the English language. They are l, r, y and w. You might tell l is a lateral or r is a continuant, and y and w are, these are what? These are semivowels. But why are they classed together? They are classed together because if you talk about these sounds, the articulators come very near each other, but the gap is not so high that it comes out with friction. Right? The gap is not so narrow, I mean to say, that it comes out with friction, but it is between the fricatives and the vowels, and hence they are known as approximants. Hence, approximants are speech sounds where the articulators approach each other, but the gap is not so narrow as in fricatives for the air to come out with friction. They fall somewhere between fricatives and vowels. Now moving on, we'll come to another term, 3-term label. So while I was explaining to you all these, the phonemes, 44 phonemes in the English language, I was constantly talking about articulators. I was constantly talking about the vocal cords, the glottis, which is big, the narrow glottis, or the big glottis or the wide glottis. All, and I was naming, I have in fact named you so many there are consonants like plosives, fricatives, affricates. So what are all these? Now when we are talking about describing the plosives or the fricatives, each of the phonemes will have a distinct identity. That particular distinct identity is known as the 3-term label. Now take a very simple example. In fact, plosive is a very common example I normally use because it's so easy to understand it. Like say the phoneme p. When I tell p, as by now you must have known, my vocal cords are very far away from each other. The air comes out from through a wide glottis, right? So when we talk about the plosive p, it is voiceless sound. And when I am pronouncing the plosive p, the 2 articulators coming in complete contact, and they are the lips, 2 lips. Lips is labial and 2 is bi, and hence bilabial. And how am I pronouncing it? I am bringing the air out from my lungs, and the air is in, it's in between the, behind the articulators, the air is kept. And until unless my articulators are not released, the air will not go out. Hence, it is produced with a plosion or explosion, and hence they are the manner of articulation. The way I am pronouncing it is a plosive. That means it comes out with complete closure, sudden explosion of the complete closure of the articulators and sudden release. There are 3 3 stages when we pronounce a plosive. That is, the air builds up, the air is kept behind the articulators, and the 3rd step, the articulators are released, air goes out. So hence we have the 3-term label for the plosive p, that is voiceless, bilabial, manner of articulation, plosive. So what is a 3-term label? The 3-term label will always give you the position of the vocal cords, that is voiceless. Now when I tell in place of p, I make it b. The only difference the 3-term label will be, it will not be voiceless, it will be voiced. The second is bilabial, that means the articulators that I use, the 2 lips. And the third one is a plosive, means it is the manner of articulation. So we have 44 phonemes, there are 44 3-term labels there. Okay, so we have, this is the chart there, it's a position of the vocal cords, articulators used, and manners of articulation. Now let us now just concentrate on what I have already done for you all, the plosives there, p, t, d and k. And what do these exemplify? That most of the phonemes are in pairs. Secondly, The pairs cannot be interchanged. As I said already, you cannot tell burper, dirter and gurker. You have to tell perber, turder, kurger. Next, the positions of the pairs cannot be interchanged. That first of all, you cannot tell per, der, ger. You cannot interchange. They are fixed there. And the phoneme in the left is the voiceless and the phoneme on the right is the voiced. This is the basic concept of any phoneme. Let me now show you the exact way of writing the phonemes. We'll start with the consonants. So the consonants are, we will start with what we call the plosives, what everybody calls in fact the plosives. So how do you write the plosives? There is a manner of writing it. So this is the way we write per, exactly like this, and b. And we write the slants there. If you don't write the slants, it is wrong. T. Now if you write something, the normal cursive way, that will be wrong. T, d. Again, d. K. This is the way you write the k. And this is the way you write the g. Exactly like this. Let's now talk about the next type, that is the fricatives. The fricatives. So, the fricatives you write f, v, s, z. Full long, sh, j, th, theta, th, the. And the last one, h. But if you write in the cursive, it's completely wrong. You have to be very careful about that. And let's go for the next one, say lateral. Just one lateral in the English language. We'll talk about them in detail in the later classes. This is la. Then we have something called the continuant. There is one continuant, that is the r. This is the way we write the r. We have something called the affricates. There are two affricates there. They are, you write the t first and then stick together the sh. It is ch, ch as in church. Then you write the and you join the j there. It's j, j. I'll also show you the semi-vowels that we have. Two semi-vowels there. They are y, like J, y as in yes, and w as in wine. We have some nasals, that is the air, passage of air doesn't go out from the mouth but from the nose. Three nasals, m, like M, n, like N, and ng. This is the way we write them. So these are your consonants. I'll talk about the vowels later. So now let me sum up the entire lecture there. So let me begin first of all with the important concepts related with plosives. Why are the plosives called so? The plosives are produced with an explosion and hence are called plosives. From which word does the word plosive come from? The word plosive comes from the word plosion or explosion. Further, which plosives are aspirated? P, T and K. In fact, these are the only phonemes in the language which are aspirated. And we also talked about a lot about the stricture. What is the stricture? It refers to how close the articulators approach one another. Secondly, the extent to which the oral tract is constricted during the speech production, it's known as stricture. That is, constricted means the articulators, how close they come together. And hence the passage of air it becomes small or large. How narrow the gap is between the active and the passive articulator is also the concept related to stricture. We had dealt in detail about the strictures, so just to review what we had done already. So what is the stricture of the plosive? It is complete closure, sudden release. The stricture of the fricative, close approximation. The stricture of affricate, complete closure and gradual release. Lateral, complete closure, lateral release. Nasal, complete closure, nasal release. And vowels and diphthongs, it is open approximation. So with this, I come to the end of lecture 3, and I talked about so many concepts before you all. I hope, students, it must have been helpful for you. Do give me comments in the comment section and let me know how you liked the class or not. Thank you so much for watching, and let's look forward to lesson 4.